Okay, so we're talking about the patterns here, so we don't have to um, stop in the middle and go back and do the pattern. So we're just looking at the patterns. I know it looks like a little hodgepodge here. We'll get the chart back to its original way. So if we look at this is the A string shape up here, and the color for the A string shape is usually blue. Usually. So this is the A string shape up here, S1A. So the S1A is down here in this S3XL. Okay? So if we move a pattern up, or if we go up one string in string shapes, we're going up to the fifth. So I call this the S2EXL because it's essentially the pattern we're going to use to play the to play that fifth, but really it's the fourth. The fourth of A is E, right? The fifth of A is E. It's important to understand. If we start on an A string shape, the next string up is going to be the fifth of that string shape. Okay? But if we are playing an A pattern, yeah, that's what it is. It's not the fourth, it's the fifth, sorry. So if we were to bring the pattern down and bring this E pattern to here, so let's say then the E pattern is the bottom string, it'd be the fifth of that A pattern. So that's why I call it the S2E XL instead of just the R, because it makes more sense. We try to stay in the mainstream. If you got a lot of data points, you draw a line through it. That's where we want to stay. So we didn't get the seventh of that, but hey, we're doing pentatonics anyway. But that's not the reason. The reason is because we can't get the seven. You can't get the seven on the fret nut or a capo. So we have to do the long pattern there. Okay, so let's get back to the chart as it is. And of course, we've got chart 221, which is going to be nice. It really turned out nice. So that was just a little time spent on the patterns. Again, the long patterns are S3AXL there and S4E. And this is how they stack up. We didn't look at this yet. So this is the S3AXL. I just put AA there because it starts on the A and it finishes on the octave there. So I put AA there. That's when I was getting a little frustrated, but now we know better. Now we know better. Since we're going to use the S3XL or X3AXL when we want to play an A shape, same way that when we play an A shape, see up here, we've got starting on the fifth here. Okay, that's the fifth. If that was a capo there, I was almost gonna put like a little shoelace there, or a piece of yarn or something. If that was the capo there, we can't play the normal A pattern that goes down. We can't get those notes, so we're gonna do the long pattern, but it's starting from the fifth there, so we call it the A pattern. Then we go into an S4E, shape fitting that 7. How do you shape fit that 7 real good? I'll show you an easy way. I'm going to zoom in on this. Luckily, earphone view, if you put the cursor on something, it zooms in on it. So let's say we're finishing the pattern with the 5-6 there, right? So we started on this 5-6 A-shaped A. Whoa, my nail caught it. And we'll go 5-6 root 5-6-7 root 2-3-4-5-6. You see this 5-6 right here? It's an octave above this. We're going to look at that 5-6 as the 5-6 in this S3D and just go over and get our 7L. You see the 7L? 7, and there's an L. We're going to go over and get that 7 right there. So that's shape fitting, really. We're shape fitting. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to do this 5-6 and then 7 root 2 for our E shape. And from there we can do an S4E, like real easily. Sorry. So here's our 5-6, 7 root 2. It's just like the other pattern except we don't have the 4. Okay, but the pentatonic is the middle part. Alright? So the pentatonic starting on, well, let's not do that. The pentatonic starting on 5, I was going to do one starting on 2 to get the entire S3S here. The little S3S, 2, 3, 5, 6, root 2. That starts your D shape. And also on your G shape, it's there. Okay, but in the other shapes, it gets warped from the tuning warp. You know, where you have the G to the B instead of a G to the C. So if we're going to do one of those little S3S's, we're starting on a D note. Say we want to start that D. Where's D? Right here on the 3rd string. We're going to have to warp the top part of that. And this root 2 will have to warp over where the root 2 will be where these 2 black notes are. It'll be 2, 3, 5, 6. Root 2 will be over like the top, like it's getting blown over. Okay, so that's what the tuning warp does to these patterns that are already in P4 tuning. If this was a bass guitar, some of the bass guitars are in P4 tuning, and they're not in any other tuning, none. There's no tuning warp, but that's okay. We're doing the tuning warp, and it makes the chord shapes. You know, our chord shapes: D chord shape, A chord shape, okay, and the top parts of E chord shape and G and C chord shapes, the top parts. Alright, so this is the long pattern stack, and we're just going to start with the long pattern here. This is the A shape, so I'm going to choose to play an A-shaped C. What you have is the real deal A is down here, and I just move that up. Okay, it's easier for me, so for teaching purposes. So we're going to do that pattern. Okay, and then right into that S4E, 7 root 2, warp up. Now we have to warp up just like we just warped up the top of the other pattern. 3, 4, 5, and then we get room for one more, 6, 7 root. I've got some problems with my now. Then you can even get that top string.